All right. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to Dank Shrine. How are you guys doing today? Are we? Yeah, I think we're on. Hello, hello.
Hey.
Good morning if you are in the United States. Good evening if you are in Africa. How are you two doing today?
Yeah, doing very well. Very
Good,
well.
good.
Didn't really complain, to be honest.
That's good. That's good. Outstanding. If you are unfamiliar with these two gentlemen that I am joined with today, right below me is PhoenixTears, and to my slightly right or left, depending on what angle you're looking at, we have Lord of Terrans or Terran Lord, or what do you prefer to go by?
To be honest, it doesn't really matter to me. It just kind of what happens. It seems like more people refer to me as Terran Lord when it comes to like when I'm playing Lord of Terrans, just generally.
Okay, so it depends on context of where you're talking to you.
Pretty much.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I feel like Terran Lord just sounds like that's like that's my professional StarCraft name, but like for my friends, it's Lord of Terrans.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
I think he was going to do Terran Lord in the beginning, and then he was like, "Oh, that's too similar to Marine Lord. Let me just switch it up and turn it into Lord of Terrans." And then he started playing other games, and only StarCraft allows Lord of Terrans, but no other game allows that. It's too long.
Right.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Right. So okay, that makes sense. Makes total sense. All right. So who are you guys? Why should we care? Why are you on a StarCraft 2 interview show? Let's Phoenix, why don't you go ahead and start us off with who the hell you are?
Okay, I'm PhoenixTears. I live in South Africa, which is not the place you would imagine you would find someone in the StarCraft community. I have been adminning and casting tournaments for 2 years now. I do a lot of adminning. I've admin over like 500 events in those 2 years, probably. Maybe it's a bit of an exaggeration, but it's very close. I admin tournaments for Proxy Tempest, which is a tournament that hosts open tournaments and a bronze diamond tournament every week. I am Gauntlet's #1 admin, even though we're not doing many things right now. And I also cast a whole lot. I cast Proxy Tempest. I cast it with Lord of Terrans. Two different... It was WCS Valencia and WCS Montreal as a community caster. And I also admin quite a few team leagues as well and other events. I'm all around just mostly an admin in the scene. But I also play a whole lot, not as much as I used to anymore, but I also... So I have spent a lot of time in the last years in StarCraft, which has just been an amazing ride already.
Cool. And Lord of Terrans. So why? First off, why am I here with both of you guys at the same time?
I don't know, to be honest. We're kind of the same person, I would say.
It's because you're my brother.
Lol. I wonder why. Maybe we sound similar. That might give that away. What do you think?
That's got to be it. I actually didn't know y'all were different people for a while. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. So anybody who doesn't know, these are two brothers they represent 80% of the South African StarCraft community, which doesn't make any sense. I don't know if you guys know math, but if there's two of them, you can't represent 80%. Anyway, yeah. There's several others, right? There's is there any like professional players from South Africa?
Yeah, kind of. Drager is I think he's around 6K, and he plays WSG every year. He qualifies from Africa, so he's pretty good. And there's like one team here that has a lot of casual players. Like that's still a pretty big community, but no really like proper like people who like work in the community or anything other than Lord and I basically.
Cool. Well, back to Lord. I'm sorry, cut you off with some other trivia. So tell me about yourself, your journey to get to this highlight pinnacle of your career by being on Dank Shrine.
100%.
I said most of it is probably down to Phoenix because I've kind of followed how he's gone. Like I started playing StarCraft because of him. I started with Proxy Tempest because of him. Then it kind of led into other things like OSC. I even followed him through the teams that eventually went to SAGs, which I'm still on now. And because of that, it's led to a lot of what I'm doing now, like being CTL admin, being some gaming team league admin, as well as I've gotten to know quite a lot of the guys, especially in that CTL community. And like Phoenix, I've also admin and casted quite a lot of events, probably not nearly as much as he has. And I'm more known for casting as opposed to adminning.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely something I prefer a lot more, and it's how I started. And like adminning, it is a bit of a tiresome job sometimes.
Right. If you were to choose between adminning a live tournament versus adminning kind of like a team league, what would be more interesting to you? I'm not going to bring up specifics. I mean overall. Yeah. We'll get into specifics later. I already know the answer to one of those team leagues, but we're gonna talk about that in a bit. But just overall,
I think probably admitting a team league would be because it is more involved. It's like a tournament's like the first 30 minutes you're involved in it, and there's like little things for the next 2.5 hours. Whereas a team league, definitely you get a lot more involved in it, and you almost always active in it because there's something happening daily.
Right, you're banning people based on behavior more than just all these situations and being like, "Hey, who vetoes first?" You do. Okay, you're gonna be gone for another 30 minutes. So see you guys later.
I need a walkover. Cool. Yeah, that's done.
Right.
Basically.
Phoenix, what about you? Which would you prefer to do?
Admin tournaments, definitely, but I think there's kind of two different tournaments per se, because like for Proxy Tempers, it's mainly just doing all the things we were just talking about, walkovers and stuff, and that's can get tedious. But like what I do for Gauntlet, where we do the events, I tweet out whenever games go live, do Team Liquid, do all the like hype stuff as well, along with getting the players. So like it is a lot more intense, which I actually really enjoy. I love doing daily events. Those are definitely my favorite.
Awesome. I mean, I figured since you guys, for anybody who doesn't really know, both of them have said how many events and stuff they admin. I promise you, if you play pretty actively in tournaments, whether it be some Diamond Platinum tournament, whether it be just an open of some sort, you've probably had them in the same chat as you adminning an event. I know personally, I met you PhoenixTears first. I don't know. I know I met you formally first. Whenever I started my Duddles Opens, you came right out the gate of Proxy Tempest, and you're like, "Hey, I would love to help you out. Like, I want to help you get started." You gave me a ton of advice. I think Lady Azilis introduced me to you, I believe.
Yeah.
Maybe no. I think I met you both at the same time. I can't remember. But you both were just so involved and helped me out, and I learned so much from you because I didn't really know how to. I know how to kind of get hype for something, but I didn't know how to run it. And so that was really impressive. I mean, the knowledge between the two of you, Phoenix and Lord of Terrans, is absolutely unparalleled in the industry, except for I think like you have people, like Dares and Molded Pixels and plenty of other people who I just don't feel like going down the list. It's just the first two come to mind. But I mean, like you guys are running the scene of StarCraft, whether it be the amateur scene or actually sometimes and very often professional scene as well. So big kudos to the two of you. I really appreciate what you guys do, and I'm really happy to have you on the show. So I know we talked to Lord. You said that you pretty much got into everything because of your brother, Phoenix. But Mr. PhoenixTears, why StarCraft? Why did you get into this particular game?
So it was the end of 2014 only. Yeah, I only started playing it around then. So I started playing StarCraft then. I never really played multiplayer before, ever. And I just fell in love with StarCraft very, very, very quickly. And I played so much that first year. I think I went from silver to plat in a year, which I was very happy about.
That's really good.
And then at the end of 2015, I wanted to go continue my studies, and I just didn't get it anywhere that I wanted to. And I was like, you know what, I'm going to actually just take a year off for myself. I have very supportive parents and supportive family. I'm going to try and actually make some kind of career in StarCraft while earning some money on the side, because I loved the game more than anything. I started playing in some tournaments, even some open tournaments, which I obviously didn't do very well in. But I could see that some people needed help, and that would be a good start. Like I also wanted to start streaming, because South African internet is a little slow, and fiber came very much later. I started like full-time, basically doing a lot of adminning. And that's basically why I chose StarCraft. It was basically the first multiplayer I ever played. I love RTS. RTS has always been my favorite genre. And I knew that I could give some of my talent, I would say, to adminning, and then it came along that I started to do casting as well. So that's basically how I got started. And to be fair, if it wasn't for Lady Azilis, who we mentioned a little earlier, I probably wouldn't be here today. She gave me the first shot as Proxy Tempest. And from there, I started to do so many more things just from working with Proxy Tempest.
Right on. And Terran Lord, I know that you're a very talented gamer as well as I'm not saying that PhoenixTears isn't good at you're better than me at StarCraft, but I know that you've actually hit Masters and everything, and I don't know, I feel like you've been more you'll get a little bit further into the tournaments that two of you play in. No offense, PhoenixTears, again, no, your brother's just really good at StarCraft. What got you, like, why out of all the games that you guys have played together, why was StarCraft to you? Why did it stand out?
I think it's mostly the competitive nature. I've always been a competitive person, and this is kind of a way for me to show it in a way where I'm actually good at something, because I think when it comes to other sports, I haven't always been the best per se, whereas this is, you're always the best because it's just yourself. And then even when you're playing against other people better, you still feel like you're good in a way. And I think that's kind of why I got into StarCraft, and I still play it today.
Awesome. So was there a particular streamer that stood out? I know we taught you guys, like, Proxy Tempest is really where you got your start when it came to kind of being an admin and kind of getting into casting. But was there like a streamer who made you think this is what I want to do? Like, this is something that stands out to me. I don't want to just play the game. I want to be involved in the community. Is there anybody in particular like that?
For me, the first tournament I ever watched, I barely even knew esports was the thing at the time. I Am Katowice 2016 had just finished.
Okay.
And I think it was 2016. Okay, well, it was the one that Polt won, and then I was like, oh my god, this is actually a thing. This is insane. This is awesome. Like, and then after that, I started watching like VODs of Base Trade and Loco and all those people. And I saw that streaming was a thing. So I think it was Loco and Base Trade really got me into the scene, like properly into the scene, into the actual running of things. And yeah, from there, that's the year after that. So yeah, it was beginning of 2017, not 2015. Yeah, beginning of 2017, I started in the scene here, and I decided, wow, that's 2 years. It's a big difference. Yeah, it was then with Proxy Tempest. Then I started with Proxy Tempest. So it's basically I Am Katowice that got me started into Loco, into Base Trade, into Proxy Tempest.
Oh, looks like Toast. That's fine. So at least we have Toast here, though. It's just in case anybody was ever feeling a little anxious about Duddles holding the keys. I promise you, I'm not driving the actual car.
Yeah, just a little mistake, folks. Back to your regular programming. Sorry about that.
Oh, thank you, Droptimus. Appreciate it. Mr. Terran Lord, what about yourself? Is there any streamer or any event that really just stood out to you and made you think, like, this is what I want to start doing and why I want to be taking this so seriously?
I think probably that would be Nathanius. I think he's someone who I watched a lot in the beginning. I think almost every day I was watching when he streamed, even when like it was quite late, I still was watching him. And he kind of got me into it. Maybe I want to stream and like I can actually make something of this. And then that probably evolved into me starting to watch a lot more events like Gauntlet, like Loco as well, like when he streamed. And I think I found Gauntlet before Phoenix did. Like it was the first time we watched it. I think it was when Björn was playing against like just random people. Yeah. And that was probably the first time I got the experience of Gauntlet itself.
Cool. Who asked you guys to start adminning for Gauntlet tournaments?
It was just Jordan, actually, because he said he was going to start doing the Global Open, and he was like, he asked in the Proxy Tempest Discord, who wants to come on as an admin. And I was like, Gauntlet. I love Gauntlet because we had been starting watching them for like 3 months. I would love to start working with Gauntlet, and I was already working with Jordan on Proxy Tempest for like 6 months, and I thought this would be a cool thing to do. And from there, Bobby and Evan were impressed, and Sito were very impressed with the amount of adminning I was doing, and then I started to work with them like properly full time.
Cool.
Yeah, so it's basically Jordan. I mean, I've also got to get credit to Azzy earlier, but Jordan also gave me a lot of tips and a good start with Gauntlet as well.
Right. That's but for anybody, I'm gonna have you guys kind of pipe in and expand on this a little bit. But if anybody's looking to get into casting and you're trying to, maybe you already have your foot in the door a little bit, you have a little bit of experience, but you want to take it to the next level, Proxy Tempest is the most open community and honest feedback. Great place to get a start. Great place to start a name for yourself. I'm watching Andy Man right now take off, and I think that he eventually will get. He's already getting offers for other casting and streaming and stuff as well. You start to meet these people. It's an introduction. It's just a community of people who do just this. Yeah. So I think the two of you are definitely people who are good examples to use of, hey, look at where they started and look at where they became, and they owe a lot of it to Proxy Tempest. So check them out, Proxy Tempest. Even if you're just into watching, amateur to. I'd consider it semi-pro. I know there are professional gamers that play in it, but I still think it's kind of like a semi-pro.
Yeah.
You're not going to see Neeb hop into a Proxy Tempest very often. Yeah. I'm sure he has played in one before, but.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's not like every.
Yeah.
Actually, I think Scarlet
played in one.
Scarlet was doing a lot of them for a while, right?
Yes, Scarlet kind of. I think also when she goes back to Canada, she plays in a lot of online tournaments. I think that's it, because you see her for like 3 or 4 weeks, just in almost every Proxy Tempest tournament, and we all like fight over who's going to get to cast Scarlet. and I always win because I'm the biggest Scarlet fan you can find.
And she was played like Protoss though, kind of not.
Yeah. Sometimes she did play. I think most of the time she off raced, which made me even like. Yeah, which made me like her even more. Because as a random player, I really appreciated that.
Right. All right. So whenever you talk about Proxy Tempest, there's another thing you should always talk about, and it's OSC, right? So how involved are the two of you with that?
I think we used to be a lot more at one stage.
Yeah.
I think right now we're only doing Proxy Tempest, but we sometimes still do like some of the Masters Cups if they need somebody. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I mean OSC. Obviously, without OSC, Proxy Tempest definitely wouldn't be able to do these kind of tournaments. Right. But I think Lord, you're more involved with OSC than I am.
Yeah, I definitely used to do a lot more, but then university started. So a lot of the events were while I was at university, so I couldn't really be involved in them nearly as much. But it definitely is a great organization. I mean, as you said, without OSC, Proxy Tempest wouldn't be a thing. It's just like for most online tournaments, like OSC is such a huge organization. Almost every online tournament you find, OSC is involved in it in some way or another.
Yeah.
Right. And how does that relationship work, if you don't mind me asking?
So basically, Eddie puts up some of the prize pool. I think for E Opens, it's a $25 prize pool. So I think he puts up 15. I think, and then for Sunday Heroes, which is $100, he puts up, I think, half as well. I think he puts 50. So basically, obviously we stream under OSC because they are the only ones. Without them, again, we wouldn't be possible. We've got to obviously why OSC does is they sponsor these tournaments, but also give out OSC points for these tournaments for the players, which is a big deal because the OSC run their own championship for teams and for players, and you get like incredibly huge bonuses for playing in a lot of these tournaments by getting OSC points, and you qualify for the end of season tournaments, which is the prize pools are actually incredibly huge, and that happens like just after BlizzCon. I think it's the biggest tournament that happens after BlizzCon is OSC does a team championship at the end from all the people who qualify, and does a whole like huge tournament. I think of the top 100 OSC points getters, they all qualify for an end of season tournament. Yeah, so I think OSC allow us to do whatever we want, basically,
right?
as long as we like shout them out and make sure that players know it's for OSC points and stuff like that.
How would if hypothetically speaking, let's pretend Duddle's Open is still going on every week, every month. How would I go about joining that kind of like that community and being like, hey, I want my tournament to give OSC points? You know, is that? I mean, obviously, I know. I'd probably just talk to like Kuro, Eddie, and Light VIP, and the people, the cranky duckling community would really be who I'd probably be going to. But how would that process work? Is that something that's doable?
Yeah, I'm not 100% sure how it works, but I know that there's a lot of new tournaments that have popped up that give like these kind of prize pools. Not too big. I mean, obviously if it's a huge prize pool, I think OC will probably take you on. But I think it's just you got to speak to Eddie and he'll like weigh up the options if it's a tournament that they would like to offer OC points. And I think he is, how would I say, a bit more liberal with that. He would because the more tournaments OFC are doing, obviously the more points you get, the more players are going to play. Like I think they started off as mostly doing like Australian events and the Asian scene, and now they're like all over the place. So if you want to start a new tournament in a new region, I think that also would do you very good to go to OC. I think they do take a lot of people, as long as you can like prove your tournament would obviously get some really good players, and you could actually run your own tournament. Like,
right.
If you could, yeah.
It's important.
Yeah.
That's just a subtle nudge at some. There's a particular person in chat who just joined. Rushing Hero, who's getting involved. I know he just had sorry to give a shout out to somebody else right now, but he just had a pretty successful tournament with Glazerbeam. And I think that the two of them could really get something going. And I think that if they were to get something serious, that would be a good community for them to go to. Just saying, guys. Anyway, so let's change the pace a little bit. I think we already talked about what got you into adminning and stuff. I want to talk about team leagues. Lord of Terrans, you have admin 2. PhoenixTears, you've admin 1. Let's talk about CTL first. So I just want to focus on Lord for just a minute. Who was it that got you into CTL? What was it? What was that? What is CTL? How was your experience going in it, etc.?
I would say Volt was probably who got me into CTL, because I know he was CTL captain for SciX. I mean, leading SciX to victory. I think it was in CTL season 17. I think it was. And because of that, I kind of got involved there. And also like the fact that SciX were playing in CTL, kind of like I had that interest in it. And then there was always that interest for me when I joined SciX to play in CTL. And then I got promoted to Masters, and I was like kind of that border where I was too good for the Diamond 1, but not good enough to play in the Masters 2 spot. Right. So it's like kind of that weird situation. And then I remember the elections were up, like the people with the nominations, and then I got nominated, and I was like, I didn't really expect it. And like what I think surprised me most is the person who seconded the nomination was Tibiam. And I go, of all people, like when you get a second from him, you kind of you've done something right.
Right.
Like, because I mean, he is the admin of all admins. I'd say like anything you have a problem with, he knows. Mm-hmm. Like he just knows everything. I mean, he's been around CTL basically since the beginning.
Yeah, I think he has been around since the beginning.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
He's also a really hard person to get on his good side. You know, in the American government, you are innocent until proven guilty. With TB Ham, you're an idiot until proven otherwise.
Yeah.
I love that guy to death. He is definitely. Whenever I was an admin for CTL, he was my go-to. Like, I had a DM going with him like all the time, and he'd just be like, "Do I just need to like take over the community?" And I was like, "Please, like, I don't know what I'm doing. Please come back." Yeah, he was great. But so CTL Chobo Team League, if anybody is not aware what that is, it's an open, pretty much open tournament. It's really what's setting the it's definitely setting the bar for amateur team leagues, for skilled. I mean, it's called Chobo Team League. If you're unfamiliar with Chobo, always Google it. But it's really cool community. It's what got my start in StarCraft and start taking it seriously. I love that community to death. Did not love adminning it, but I kind of did too. It was a bittersweet. So respect to anybody who can do it for more than a season or two, because it really wears on your patience. It takes so much time put into it. I think right now a little bit less, just because I'm it's less transparent of what the admin decision process is whenever I was in it, because we were open and unprofessional. But I know TB Ham makes it a lot easier just because it's kind of like, here's the roles, here's what you need to do, you do this, and it's like, okay, I'll do this. But it can be very difficult, and especially with our community, which are a bunch of jerks. Speaking of a community that are a bunch of jerks, let's talk about this other team league, the Psystorm Gaming Team League, PGTL. I know both of you admined in that, and although there were some people had some complaints, I heard. I know whenever you guys took over, it started to run a lot smoother, but it wasn't an easy road. Do you guys want to talk about that in any way?
I think not an easy road is understating it. Yeah, it was a great idea. If you guys don't know, it goes along the line, kind of like CTL. Got like amateur teams involved. Had an $8 prize pool, which is unprecedented in the amateur team league scene. Had great idea where you'd send in a picture and as the players, and you'd get your time in the spotlight. It had everything going for it except very, very, very inexperienced admins and very naive admins who thought, look, we can do what CTL can do with half the people, and it kind of just was. I mean, it's done, it's finished, and it's being casted still. We got to the end, but it wasn't nearly as successful as CTL. That's definitely understating it as well.
So just to kind of throw some positivity at it, it's not like every season of CTL has been smooth.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And we're on what, season 22 or something, or 21 right now? Like 20. Okay, yeah, season 20 of CTL versus the first season of PGTL. If you really think that every single one of those seasons didn't have any drama in it, I mean, the fact that I just think that one of the real reasons why PGTL probably suffered is because everybody who was banned from CTL for bad behavior and being toxic and kind of driving these like mass riots inside Discord chat, those guys were like team captains in PGTL, you know?
Yeah.
Like entire teams that have been banned are like, hey, you guys can participate. As a matter of fact, why don't you join forces? So I don't know. There's definitely some things that I was kind of watching from the sidelines, and I was like, don't do it. But yeah, how the hell are you guys supposed to know that? And I don't know. It's definitely major props to Mr. KJ Freedom for throwing down the, how do you say it? Sponsoring it? 'Cause it's not sponsoring it. I mean, his tournament.
I think but they're the hosts. Yeah, the hosts. That's the best way. Yeah.
So he's the host of it, and I really good idea. Good. Thank you, Just Jordan, for really doing his best to get it on. I think it's just an unfortunate. You mix two substances together, and you're gonna have a chemical reaction, and that's kind of what happened when we had these communities crash together with certain egotistical personalities, right? But Terran Lord, what was your favorite part of that team league?
Favorite part? I would say it's probably learning how to use like Wikipedia and stuff like that, because like that's something like I was like, this seems pretty interesting, but I have no idea how the hell it works. And then one day I was like, let me try and actually edit it and make it look presentable because it works for CTL. And I actually figured it out, and it took a long time. Yeah. I remember like the first day I did it, it took like 6 hours, I think, just to figure out how to input the matches properly. And then it's just like, TBM like messages me later in the day. It's like, you can just set it up doing this, and this. I'm like, wow, that's a lot easier. And it's just like, this is interesting.
Right. Yeah. I remember TV Ham popped in. He was like an admin just to help you guys out with some Discord stuff for like 10 minutes, and everybody's all like, "It's saved!" finally saved. But PhoenixTears, what was your favorite part about it?
Oh wow! I could be political, but I think I'll just say probably when I left the Discord, I left it for other people to finish, because I was there from the beginning till the second last week. And the second last week, there was a whole nother mob session. And I was like, you know what? I'm just not dealing with this anymore.
Right.
And
why deal with it?
It's
not. I think that a lot of us didn't understand that because I'm not going to sit here and pretend like I didn't give you guys a hard time sometimes too.
Yeah.
But like one thing that we always seem to forget is that like you guys aren't getting paid to do this, right?
Yeah. Yeah. No, not at all. Yeah.
Admins rarely get paid. It's a job of passion. It's a job of patience is a really big deal, and they get they are the restaurant managers of the team leagues and the events. Show them some respect, or at least be patient. If something goes wrong, just remember that like it's you're not really paying for it. And I know in PGTL the reason why everybody's so upset is because they did buy into it, right?
Yeah.
I think if that was something that went away, just that one piece of it went away, I think 90% of those conversations would have been different.
Yeah.
That's my own take on it. But I still think it's a really cool idea. I just really wish it. I really wish us toxic mobsters weren't so mean to the admin team, and maybe were more mean to particular captains who were privately, not in the public channels, because those guys should have been definitely held responsible for just being intentionally stirring the pot and trying to make your lives so much more difficult because of this simple decision making. That's like, hey, in the rules it says we can make these decisions. We made the decision. If you agree with it or not, tough, right?
Yeah.
There's definitely a big disconnect there. I know Volticus is currently going through some crap too with his team league based on some of his tweets. It's just, guys, as a community, show these people more respect. We get free content, right? What's better than free content? You get to play a video game with people. You get to be competitive at a level that you wouldn't be able to on just playing ladder. Thank you, PhoenixTears. Thank you, LordofTerrans. You guys are awesome. Cool. I decided. Sorry for my rant. I would ask you what your least favorite part of it is, but I kind of want to keep it a little cordial. You guys on the spot. I know good journalists ask hard questions, but let's face it, anybody who's familiar with the league already knows what your least favorite part was. So
yeah.
So what your end goal? So like, let's say, I know with casting, I can kind of guess what your end goal would be. We'll talk about that in a second. But with adminning, what would be your end goal? Something that if you were to be asked to do some events, what would the coolest event you would want to do be?
Home Story Cup, 100%. Story Cup. Yeah, I think maybe a year or two, or even like 6 months ago, maybe would have been BlizzCon. But I just love that event so much. If I could like hang out with the players while like organizing and helping them out, that would be like for me, that would be the ultimate tournament to be working on.
I wouldn't have guessed that. That's a cool one. Terran, what about you?
I'd probably just go with WCS events. I think, well, like obviously Home Story Cup is great. It's a different kind of tournament, and I feel like I want to kind of feel how it feels like to be involved in like something like a WCS event, which is so professional, so like pristine and like that kind of things. And I mean, when you look at some of the guys like Tralos, I know does a lot for WCS. It seems like it would be a great like stepping stone to get to. And I'd say if I did that, then I could end my admin career pretty much.
So you're right. I retire. Thank you.
Yeah.
So what about casting? What would you? What are your goals there?
I think short-term goal is to start getting paid to doing for casting, because I am getting paid to do some adminning a little bit, but I think that would be the short-term goal. But also, I would love to cast a Home Story Cup as well. But one of the offline events, if I could cast with the talent one of the offline events, that would be like the end goal. That would be the coolest thing.
Right. Have you guys been flown out to any events? Have you like adminned any offline event yet?
No.
Nope.
That's
weird to me. I have seen other admins, like WCS Austin and stuff. They're helping out, not necessarily doing the same kind of admin work, but it is definitely a whole different beast whenever you're there offline.
Yeah.
But what about? Why do you think that is? Is that something do you think it's just because you live in South Africa that's just like they're not going to fly you out?
I think it's hard to say like this, but it's kind of might come across a little cocky. I think it's just that people just don't know us. Like, they don't know, because I when I look at some tournaments, I'm like, you really, like, I could admin this so much better than others. Not the WCS tournaments. I not like that, but like some of the bigger events. I think, I mean, it is very hard to make your name as an admin, and especially this last year has been quite a difficult one with something like PGTL. I think it is. I know there's so many admins as well in OSC. Bloody Rafe, Scarecrow, Illusory, who was around a lot as well. They're just like they're known by some of the players, but I don't think they're already known by the tournament organizers. I think that's where the where it lies. Why we haven't been flown out.
How could we fix that? Like, how would?
It's difficult. I think. But it's also like the same with casting. It's still very, 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 very difficult to be recognized by the big leagues. You have to just do so many events that hopefully you get a lucky break. I think like stuff like this is the key. Like, it seems cheesy, but getting people's names out there in these kind of interviews and getting a face to the name, I think that's what we got to try and start doing.
Right.
I mean, there's going to be less and less tournaments every year. Well, to be fair, I thought that, but it's actually just growing more and more and more. But there are a lot less tournaments than there was like 4 or 5 years ago. So, like, I think most of the organizers fall into the same like pattern of hiring the same people, which obviously you don't want to. You would rather keep the same people on. It's a lot more reliable. But I think the key is just our names just aren't out there enough, maybe, if I have to say it like that.
Someone said, if you want to put a face to the name, Terran Lord needs to lower his camera. Well, I appreciate, I mean, I hopefully you guys know this topic is why my idea for the show started. It was to get, recognition for people who worked so hard. You two were some of the exact reason I created the shows, is to be like, why isn't there like a fan club for these two guys for the amount of work that you put into StarCraft and the community and building it and all these events and stuff. And it's weird to just like, who knows who PhoenixTears is? It's like before all the team leagues and stuff became more public, it was people who watch Proxy Tempest, players, and then very niche, whatever, however you pronounce that stupid word, tournament organizers who already know. And those tournament organizers would go to you first, right? And they'll go to Lord of Terrans, they'll go to Lady Azilus, they'll go to these people. It's like, y'all are my go-to people. So why are these tournament organizers, should they be, talking to each other and helping each other out? Is the animosity between them? You have some drama between, let's just say, for instance, like that Gauntlet and Wardy nonsense that happened, that was where everybody was wrong and nobody should have even been on Twitter at all. That situation that can be damaging, right? Because what if Wardy needed an admin and the two of you would be excellent recommendations, but he would never know about it because he's not talking to Gauntlet and asking, their advice and, hey, I need an admin. Can anybody help me out? That conversation isn't happening. This is a total ramble. I'm sorry, but it's just something I don't know. I'm pretty passionate about it. I really want I want people to be I want people to be more recognized. I want you guys to. I would love to see you guys at Home Story Cup or WCS events. I think it's weird that you're not already there, except for the fact that you live on the other side of the planet. Yeah. Has there ever been like a WCS event in Africa? I doubt it, but
maybe. No, I know. I think I did look. There was one that wasn't WCS, but it was maybe I did have quite a few big players, I think, in Cape Town about 3 or 4 years ago. I could be completely wrong. I might be misspeaking, but I do remember there was quite a big tournament in South Africa.
Cool. Well, there's only one way to change that, right? It's for you guys to put on that. Of course, you need quite a bit of funding to fly to Africa. Would you ever? So let's say, like, I know Storm community has kind of picked up not just players but also organizers and stuff like that. Like Tempo, he's with them, and they were to say, hey, we'll pick you guys up, but you need to move to America. Would you take that opportunity?
Yes, I would miss my family a lot. I'd miss South Africa a lot, but I've been rudderless for a large part of my life, and until I found esports, I mean, esports is the first time I found like proper direction. So like, I want to be working in esports. That is the end goal in some way, shape, or form. I won't accept nothing less. I will do everything I have to be able to happen. So if that opportunity was to arise, I would 100% take it.
Cool.
100%.
What about you, Mr. Terran Lord?
That's a difficult one for me. I think for me personally, I always struggle like being away. Like, it's just the way I am. So I think I would only do it if Phoenix were to come with me. I think that's just because I would struggle so much by myself that I'd need him with me to at least like keep me sane in a way, like, even if it was just for more sport. Like it would be a very difficult decision, I'd say. Like I'd have to be like, when it would happen, I have to know the exact circumstances around it to even consider the decision.
Cool. Well, hopefully that does happen. I would love to be like, and behind the door number 2, we have this option for you. We have plane tickets and a hotel ready to go. But yeah. So out of WCS events and GSL and stuff like that, who's your favorite player that you've followed? Period. I'm sorry to totally tangent it, but I'm just curious. I want to pick your brains on some of these events. Who's your favorite of all time, player wise?
Scarlet. Always will be Scarlet. Scarlet is my ultimate favorite.
Why Scarlet?
It's the way she plays. Like, there's not many Zerg players, like even at the top level, who do 7 different builds in a best of 7 series, and that's Scarlet will do it. That is why I definitely started to become such a Scarlet fan, because it's not the same thing. She's easily, for my opinion, the most entertaining person in the scene in terms of her play, and I think the fact that she switches to pro sometimes and gives it a go in tournaments also is awesome. Whenever she streams, I'm like the first one to be in her stream, and she's incredibly smart about the game, which is exactly how I think about games. Skill comes second for me. I'm always thinking about like how to improve the game as terms of like strategy and stuff like that. And it's nice to watch her streams and be able to see her explain stuff. So it's just, there's so many things about Scarlet. But I mean, I must be honest, like I first gravitated to her because she was the only female in the scene. Like that's like a stock answer, but that is basically why I gravitated towards her. And then I just started to like, she still wasn't my favorite player, but she definitely stood out, if you know what I mean. Right. And then I started watching her streams, watching her play more, and I really started to. She became my favorite player very quickly.
And Terran Lord, who stands out to you?
Holt, for sure. Like, he was the first player I watched in StarCraft, and I have loved him ever since. Like, I will call myself a Holt fanboy. Just straight up. Like, as soon as Holt comes back into the StarCraft scene, I'll watch that stream. Like that first stream, or the first event he plays in his cast, I'll be watching it. Just the way he carries himself has always been something that I've liked, and I mean, he always been that foreign Korean, I guess, if you could call him that. And he was just so lovable. I think that kind of became Bjorn when Polt retired, and I think they have very similar personalities. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's pretty much it. And obviously being Terran makes a big difference with that.
Danton thought you said Volt.
Never.
Volticus, he's my favorite professional player. That guy is, everybody knows him. You needs no introduction. So doing so many kind of, these open events and everything, you guys get to see the minor leagues of StarCraft. You get to see people that they're up and coming. Like, I'm sure whenever you first casted Sol, he wasn't the WCS contender he is now. I know he's been around for years, so he may have been. I'm just kind of threw a name out there. You get to watch the kids, right? Like Raynor, Future of Terran. some of these other guys who are up and comers. Who Starkiller, I think, is another big one. Who just weren't. They're just not old enough to play in WCS, and you know that they're going to be big, so they have to do events like Proxy Tempest. They have to do events like the Gauntlet Open, because that's where they're making their money and where they're making their name for themselves. Who right now is somebody for us to look out for if we're not as if I only watch WCS and GSL? Who are some people who you think are up and comers that you know are going to be the big deal?
I think both of us are going to say exactly the same person.
Goblin.
Goblin, yeah. Goblin,
Yeah.
No,
100%.
Even with the carrier nerf coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think a lot. He gets like I don't want to say bad reputation for liking Skytoss, but I've seen him play many times, like the standard style, the Charge Out Immortal Archon, and he could beat some really good players. I mean, he beat Laser in the last WCS qualifying tournament. Mm-hmm. I mean, Challenger. And then I think next time he beat Nurture. Like his PvZ is like insane. Like he could honestly beat anyone on his day. But like the fact from when he first started playing in the tournaments, you can see the constant progression. You can see him getting better and better. Like you think he was like a 6K Protoss, now he's like top 15 in EU, which is incredibly difficult to do. Like for me, I think next year he could have a year just as good as Reina. Right?
Interesting.
Like he's also such a hard worker. Like people also don't really see how many games he actually plays, because I think he's got like 3 different accounts or something, and he's like easily one of the hardest working most games in Europe. Probably could even contest like the real pro gamers.
Is there anybody who plays in these events that like just personality wise and being easy to work with stands out? They may not be like the best, but they're just kind of like regulars that you just love to see there.
Starkiller. Starkiller stands out more than anyone. I can honestly, for the whole tournament, just talk to him about things, and obviously he makes our lives very easy. He always starts the game with WCS game mod, which is so much better as casters, which a lot of people don't do it. And like, it's someone I could easily call a friend. So Starkiller stands out above everyone. Cham as well was also very nice. He's incredibly nice as well. I think Cham and Starkiller stand out for me.
The only thing I would say about Starkiller is he takes a long time to do things. Like, you try veto with him. It takes like 10 minutes. I remember the one time I played against him in a tournament, and it was like 20 minutes later. Oh, we in a lobby, and I'm still waiting in the lobby because he's AFK.
No, he's not AFK. He's looking up his opponent and trying to find previous matches with the same matchup. He's like, all right, so I'm playing. Okay, this is Drogo. All right, how did he do? What did he do on this map? I don't want to play against that play style. Okay, let's check out this. So we're gonna veto that one. Let's check out. Ooh, this map looks good. I don't like how I can beat that build he did. You know, like he's every time. Which more realistically, he's probably just in college and has people talking to him.
Yeah. I remember the one time we were casting, and it's like, oh, I just need to go to the bathroom for like a minute. 12 minutes later, we were still waiting for him. And like then we like made it think, 1 Starkiller minute is 10 actually. Real time.
And I'm assuming there's no bias for the Starkiller name drop because he's in Psy-X, right? There's no.
No.
Okay. Well, to be completely fair, we were huge fans of him when he was on Dust.
Yeah, right.
I'm not on Sykes anymore, but when I heard he was joining Sykes, Lord and I shared a little bit of a giddy moment. We were so happy. Yeah.
What team are you on now again? I'm sorry.
Cranky Ducklings.
That's right. I just wanted it before. I thought that for sure, but I didn't want to assume. When is Cranky Ducklings going to be in CTL?
Okay, I'm gonna give the political answer and say never, and I won't give you the reason why.
I would love to hear that. Maybe offline is some of the reason. Because I do want to know the reason. Because I think everybody. I've never met somebody in Cranky Ducklings who I wasn't like, this person's super cool. You know.
I'll say what happened in PGTL is a pretty good marker to why they weren't playing in.
Fair enough.
In CTL. Not
okay. Okay.
Not a fan of some of the people.
Right.
Some of the people, yeah.
Well, those hopefully none of the admins, because I think the admin team right now is better than
Yeah. Not problem with the admin. It's more there are some teams that, like, even when we play them in VTL, they are little difficult to deal with. And I think, and also we do have a bit of a smaller roster than other teams, so that's also another deterrent. But it is mostly just some of the teams is just very difficult to deal with.
I mean, just as you know, experience from a small team, because Foremost Bear Smith has never been a big team, not since I've joined it anyway. There are benefits and also major challenges in having a small team, like what happened to us in the finals a couple seasons back. Something happened that wasn't against the rules, but we disagreed with the morality of it. But it's very exploitable because it's like they know that you're going to put one of 3 people in every single spot. And so then whenever they do it, they just see who it is and they just change their roster immediately and substitute everybody else. They're like, okay, I know this guy can beat him. I know this person can beat this person. So they already know your entire roster. So that's challenging. But the good part is every single one of your players who plays in the event is extremely experienced after like a couple weeks of how the process works. You're never going to have walkovers based on because of the rules, right? But anyway, that's neither here nor there. We'd love to have you guys. I know as if I'm some sponsor of CTL. Just as a fan of the community, I know that we could benefit from the experience in the Cranky Duckling community, and also the access to those outside tournaments. Having some more transparency in those would be great to all of us, because we're just a bunch of scrubs who are just like, hey, it's not CTL, or some person who, like the Nation Wars event and stuff that happened in CTL. We really migrate towards the events that are run by people who are also competing in it. So that would be good exposure for us and probably for some of those OSC events. Let's see here. What is your favorite gaming community and why is it Mitosis Gaming? I'm sorry, I'm on Dank Shrine right now. And why is it Dank Shrine?
Because they are the dankest shrine of all.
God damn it, stole what I was going to say.
I had to make the dad joke before you got in, because in all seriousness, my favorite community, well, Mitosis Gaming, Proxy Tempest are the first 2 that I started with. And Mitosis Gaming, we've got you, Andy Man, Coast. When we first started playing in, what was the Andy Man's thing?
The replay happy hour. He had the show matches.
Oh, I love that.
That show match that we played. Oh my!
Lord of Carrots.
Yeah.
Never forgets.
You always felt welcome, and then the 2 that I've met later on with StarCraft was Syx. I absolutely love Syx, and Cranky Ducklings. I honestly love almost everybody on those 2 teams. They are just positive influences on the community, and they do things the right way. There's other teams obviously that do things the right way. There are some teams who don't, but I know that Syx and Cranky Ducklings will always do things the right way, and that's the way I've always carried myself. I honestly, if we played in a team league and we knew that we were cheating, which would never happen with Cranky Ducklings, I would leave them the next day. That's just not something I'd be interested in.
Right. That's so important.
Yeah.
I value that very much. That's a very good answer. What about you, Mr. Terran Lord? Who's your why is Mitosis Gaming your favorite community? And why is your favorite community leader Duddles? I mean, it's just an easy answer, right?
I mean, to the Hellas Devils. I mean, yeah, right. It's kind of the easy answer there. But I think, in all seriousness, again, it's Syx. It's got to be. I mean, since I joined at the beginning of the year, I've never had more fun being part of a team than I have been part of Syx. And I've always felt the support from them, no matter what I'm doing. Even if it's playing Overwatch, which is a game most of the members don't even play. And I still feel like they are involved in what I'm doing. And anytime I post in the server, what I'm doing, there's always someone watching. It doesn't matter who it is, it's someone. Like Sushi, especially Sushi. I mean, he's the biggest part of Syx. I say, obviously we've got guys like Jedi Zealots and Insangar who do more things behind the scenes, but I think Sushi is the face of Syx. He is Syx. Whenever you think Syx, it's Sushi.
Yeah, Sushi's always been very kind to me. Very assertive. So to the point, not always. Yeah. I guess not always covered in sweetness whenever he'll tell me something that I may have said incorrect or something like that. But he's a very, I don't know, he's very to the point, very kind. And I have a lot of respect for that guy. He's really cool. I know that there has been some PsyX drama, not super recently. There's nothing relevant enough to talk about here, but what I like is how it was handled by the captains of the team and obviously the higher ups to kind of just squash it and make it not so public and PM people and be like, hey, we'd appreciate it if this wasn't, aired out publicly. And that's the sign of a true community of experience and just professionalism. So good for you two guys for being part of that community. More so Terran Lord for still being on it. Cranky Ducklings again. It's not like you made a bad choice here by killing them. I hear they're useless, right? They don't do anything. So let's talk about Overwatch a little bit, just to kind of change the gear away from StarCraft a bit. Why are you guys so into Overwatch? What is it about this game that really stands out to you?
Wow. So we have always hated FPS, mostly. Like, we've always played the campaigns and stuff like that. Overwatch is just a different FPS. It's just like, I can watch Counter-Strike. I don't think I'd ever enjoy it because it's just like, I know there's strategy behind it, but Overwatch is just so many different characters that just brings such a different thing to the table. And I started playing more Overwatch now when stuff in StarCraft started going a bit worse, like with PTL and stuff. It actually did affect my willingness to actually play the game. I think for me, why I've definitely stuck to Overwatch more than I thought I would is because there's more of a community in South Africa for Overwatch than there is StarCraft. So once I found that and got myself onto an actual South African team, it was very different because you're playing with people that are actually in your country, and you can actually take part in a scene of your own country, which again for us is just very, very, very strange in esports. So I think that's why I gravitated towards it when I did, and that's why I'm kind of sticking around with it. I still I don't foresee myself ever becoming like a caster or a tournament organizer for Overwatch. I will always stick to StarCraft. StarCraft's my favorite game, always will be. It's the best community, but that is kind of why Overwatch kind of became more important.
Right. I've seen firsthand some people trying to organize Overwatch tournaments, and it is like, if you think StarCraft is tough, team games are impossible.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah. I have no desire or envy for people who are doing that. That's insane. Because you're not just dealing with one smartass little snotty-nosed kid. You're dealing with a team of 8 of them, who are all like for every single event. And then you also have to organize just setting up a good time for everybody, especially if it's open and worldwide. It's just impossible. So hats off to people who do that. Thank God I'm not part of it. But Terran Lord, you also play a lot of Overwatch, right?
Yeah, definitely over the past, let's say, month or two, I've playing a lot more. I think it's mostly again because I wouldn't say lost passion for StarCraft. I find that in order to play StarCraft, I need to have a lot more time to dedicate towards it, and I just don't really have that time to dedicate towards it at the moment. So Overwatch is definitely a lot easier for me to dedicate towards, and I feel like I'm improving a lot more at the moment in terms of Overwatch, where StarCraft has kind of stagnated in a way.
Right. There's a rule of thumb that a good friend of mine told me. It's you should always play 2 games. You want one of them to be your main focus, right? And that's probably StarCraft for most of us here. But, you're going to have off days. And the best advice anybody ever gives is if you're having an off day, just take a break. But for me, it's like I only have 2 nights out of the week that I can even potentially get on my computer at home, much less play long games. So if I'm doing bad at StarCraft, I usually just suck it up and continue being bad. Hence my 700 MMR drop this season. But and also I'm sure alcohol had something to do with that. But anyway, that's neither here nor there. But you need to have another game to go to, and that's one thing that I like. That's the reason I like to talk about it, is because it's interesting to me what's your secondary game, and it needs to be usually a lot different. Like for me, it's CS:GO. It was PUBG for a while. It was pretty, that's like the most cliche StarCraft player you can be. Is like "Oh, what are you doing? You're not playing StarCraft." Well, obviously it's PUBG, because that's what everybody else in StarCraft. Like, it was the exact same community of people I was playing with in StarCraft. I could also play in PUBG. But Counter-Strike for me is what really stands out, and it's because it's like, if I can go 0-5 in StarCraft, then I'll be like, okay, fine, whatever. I'm just having a bad gaming day. Then I'll play Counter-Strike, and it's so different, and I'll go like 30-5, in a single match, and be like, oh, this is an FPS day.
Yeah.
But on the counter end of that, I can go ahead and play StarCraft or Counter-Strike and lose 3 matches in a row. Then I'll hop on StarCraft and literally just be undefeated the entire day. So I'm like, oh, for some reason people forgot how to counter Zerglings. This is a good day of StarCraft. So do you guys have any advice? So anybody who's just getting started, and kind of switching back to StarCraft for a second, somebody who's just getting started and they want to be in. They either want to start their own community, they want to get involved in adminning, they want to get involved in casting, they want to, start organizing their own tournaments. What sort of advice would you have for somebody to get immersed into the StarCraft community? How would you penetrate it? If you guys were to do it again, how would you do it?
Definitely reach out to one of these organizations like Proxy Tempest, SCV Rush, OSC. They're always looking for help. That's how we got our start, basically. If you want to start your own community and your own tournament, just reach out to people. Reach out to different communities. Reach out to communities like Cranky Ducklings. Different, if you're going to be doing a team league, reach out to many different people. Try and create a network of people. I think that's very important. Before you even start anything. But you're going to have so many doubts, so many people telling you, and it's a waste of time and all that stuff. And it's just not. It's the best thing I've ever done. Just do it. Just even if you just need to speak to someone for advice, because I can't say. I can't speak for them, but I honestly think if you reached out in Nathaniel's Discord or Pig's Discord or Maynard and asked for advice, they would take the time and give it to you. There's just so many amazing people in the community. Just reach out. That's my best advice. Reach out to people, because they can give you more advice than you could ever imagine. And I think also when I first started watching Nathaniel's with Lord, I actually did pinging him because he has a thing in his Discord, Ask Nathaniel, and I asked him what should be doing, and he's just cast tournaments, just keep doing it. It's going to be difficult, but just work hard, just work hard. I think that's what he said to me. That's another good point. I think it was a bit of a ramble, but reach out to different people and don't let the doubts get you. Just do it.
Don't let the PGTLs get in your way, boy.
You said it, not me.
I decide that or use it. Use that as fuel.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Just prepare yourself for the long haul, because it's not going to come easy. Yeah, it's not. You're going to do a few events this is a lot, but I'm not really getting anything out of it. You won't for those first few events, but eventually you're going to get something out of it. I mean, I can say it took a while for me to get really anything going, and now admin 2 team leagues in the space of a couple months, and one of them CTL, which is the biggest team league in the amateur scene. The fact that I'm being able to do that is incredible. If you had told me I'd be doing that 6 months ago, even, I'd tell you, what the hell are you even thinking?
And not just that, because I think you can become an admin in CTL somewhat easily, but doing it to where you have you're welcome there. The community's all no, he's good. We want him to stay. That's tricky, and that requires a lot of confidence in you, because people are looking for any reason to exploit admin hiccups. So you guys both, in my opinion, have done amazing jobs. So that's why I would definitely say, if anybody's looking to get this stuff started, join Proxy Tempest, join Mitosis Gaming. Mitosis Gaming maybe not as much for real experience, but you can at least network and reach out to these guys, because they're the ones who are going to help you out and give you the advice of hey, this is what we did wrong, this is what we did right. This is just get Donnet in your channel, because he's going to be your biggest fan, because he's the nicest guy in StarCraft. And that sort of thing. Right. So, is there anything that you guys want to talk about? Anything that if you have a little bit of a little bit of a crowd, I guess. What do you want to say? Anything that you guys want to advertise or?
Oh, I have to do this. Sign up for the Volticus Star League. It is basically ladder, but without the ladder anxiety. Message Volticus now. have to go along with the meme.
It's basically ladder without the ladder anxiety. Just that hasn't really been my experience.
Okay. Again, I'll probably pile on what I said before. There's so many things that can go wrong in esports because it's such a newish thing, right? Like it is not like set thing, but just keep working hard. There's probably everyone in the chat that's in the chat now knows me, but if you're a new person who's just tuning in, we need more people. We need more people to believe in it because there's always going to be the haters. And adminning is another thing I've got to say. Adminning is just not as bad as everyone thinks it is. It's not that boring. You can make something of it. Especially. I think in a lot of those like tournaments like Proxy Tempest and OC, admins probably don't do a lot because they know that they're giving their time sparingly, right? But when I admin a tournament for say, I always give my full self to it, where I would make sure everyone knows who's playing, tweeting it out, getting the hype around. I think just try and make the best of adminning because it's a very difficult job, and you've got to as what you saw what happened in PGTL and other team leagues. A lot of people think you're going to do a bad job already because they got such a heightened sense of I want my way, that kind of thing, that you've just got to prove people wrong. I didn't do such a great job with PGTL, but just keep working hard. You're going to get PGTLs. You are going to get people who are going to give you a hard time. But just keep working. And also, this person to my that I don't know, I'm pointing the wrong way. That person is he says he followed me around and everything, but he's made his own name for himself. He's done so much that I think like a lot of my stuff you'll see because I'm adminning turns, you'll speak to it, but the stuff he does behind the scenes for Sykes or on Liquipedia or CTL, like you won't be able to see it. You won't even be able to see a little bit of it because it's always behind the scenes. But he is always working on. He's either working on university, which is like 2% of the time, maybe, and the rest of the time just giving it rest to StarCraft.
2%. Okay.
Oh,
This is the one who barely works.
The backhanded compliment. It's like, hey, just wanted to give a shout out to my brother who works really hard, except not in real life.
I know I'm lazy, but I didn't finish an essay within 3 hours before the deadline. I never did that.
That was like 24 hours before the deadline. Just saying.
How did you do on the essay? That's the important thing.
I don't know yet.
Oh, okay. We'll follow back to that one.
Yeah, maybe know in about a couple of weeks how I did. We'll see.
What about, do you have any shout outs you want to give? Any plugs? It can be as shameless as you want. Anything in particular you just want to throw out there?
Oh, I kind of said it earlier, but now that I'm in the big time on Dank Shrine, I feel like I should give a couple of shout outs. Definitely, as I said before, to Lady Azilis, like without her knowledge and without her advice and without her emotional support, like I've got a real friend, like a lifetime friend in Azzy. Without her, wouldn't be even close to where I am today. Shout out to Just Jordan. I don't know where you are. I haven't seen you in a few weeks, which is worrying me because he's one person who's always been in the scene. So wherever he is,
in Florida, right?
Yeah, I hope. I don't know exactly what's going on with him, but I hope everything's okay because he also gave me a whole lot of advice and showed me to do a whole lot of things. and without him, also wouldn't be here where I am today. And again, big shout out to which side? Yeah, that way, to Lord of Terrans for being my not only the person who listens to all my rants and all my especially my PGTL rants, but for always being the emotional support, because like it's quite a lonely place in esports when you're around a whole lot of people, especially in your like real life, who don't know or kind of really don't really care what esports is, and that's basically what my life right now. It's always nice to like go to the room over and be able to just talk about Overwatch or StarCraft. Like that he keeps me sane.
Cool. Terran, what about you? What do you have?
I think shout out to Daunted who's in chat, because I think that if there's anyone who's done a better job of promoting StarCraft than Daunted has, please show them to me, because I don't know them. Like if there is, I would love to know. I mean, every time, no matter what stream. I mean, I don't know how many Discord servers I'm in with him. Almost everyone he's posting some kind of stream, whether it be for an event, a player who's streaming who you don't necessarily know, like someone like Demi, who, I mean, he's not that well known, but he's going to post it everywhere. Every Discord he's in, it's going to be there. He doesn't care who sees it as long as someone sees it. And I think that's so important in the esports scene, that even that one extra person who you reach out to can change their like perception of esports, and then it can make them get involved a lot more. I also have to shout out Phoenix. Like, as he said, what I've done for him, he's done the exact same for me. Without him, I definitely would not be sane. There's just not a chance for me. And I remember a few weeks back, like, with how much I've done, I basically crashed. Like, I'm going to be honest. And without him, I don't think I would have been able to recover from it as well as I did.
Well, we're all happy that you guys are still here. We were just trying to test how resilient you'd be. That's why we're all doing it. It was actually a big plan the whole time. So actually, I have one more question before we wrap things up. Out of all the events that you've done, not including team leagues, because I think we already know the answer to that, but was there like something that really, in the good and in the bad, like was there a specific tournament that you remember of just like having some hilarious drama that happened that you were able to resolve, or just kind of sit back and eat some popcorn and watch, or just something where it was literally like one of the most amazing things you've ever admin? Is there a particular tournament that stands out? Not like event. Recurring event, I mean like specific, like the Proxy Tempest 112 or something, you know, like was there anything that really stood out that you'll remember for the rest of your life?
I think I don't obviously no idea which one it was, but I think my favorite event of all time would definitely be the one I casted with Lord for the first time, which was one of the first no, what was it? It wasn't EE Open. It was the Proxy Tempest EE Open. Because I mean we've been best friends our entire life. Like we're literally inseparable, and to be able to work together in the esports scene and like bring our weird and wonderful relationship, as nervous as we were, to a Proxy Tempest event, to a StarCraft event, to a game we loved so much and we just poured so much time into. I think there's definitely my highlight, without a doubt. I mean, low light has to be obviously PTL. I know that we said we wouldn't talk about it, but I think that I was surprised a lot by the negativity in the scene for a long time in that team league, and it was very dark time for me and everything. But like the few months afterwards, I've seen all the support that I've received from so many different people that it's just like such a small percentage. That the scene is amazing. But yeah, that was some dark times.
Well, you have to remember it's the same 4 or 5 people that are actually toxic, and they're just
exactly.
most active. And that's why banning people in Discords is important. In my opinion, I probably should have been banned myself for kind of picking some fights. But how about Lord of Terrans, Terran lords, all the Terrans are under your control. What event really stood out to you? If there's something that you have like the either best or most hilarious moments.
I think probably my best, like my highlight, was end of last year when I was casting the end of year OSC event with the Zillas, and I remember it started at I think 9 o'clock our time and it ended 3 a.m. in the morning, and it was one of the longest events I have ever done, like in terms of casting, and a lot of it was downtime, which you would think, okay, you have a break, but that downtime is actually worse than actually just casting. Like, I'd rather cast for 4 straight hours than do like a 3-hour event but had 1 hour break. It's just the constant casting. You're not really reminded of anything, and like, you're just going as it goes. And also, the funniest part of that was I didn't have like a functioning computer at the time, so I was in Phoenix's room casting while he was sleeping. So it was like I can't really be too loud, I wasn't gonna wake him up. And then I remember like when I got to there and I was like, holy shit, I've been casting for 6-7 hours. I am dead.
Right.
And I just like face planted on my pillow afterwards and just went to sleep. Yeah, that was probably my best. And obviously coming close is definitely casting with Phoenix for sure.
Awesome. My own experience, I can just test. I can't even think of the word. The fatigue that happens during downtime is insane because you're especially when you're casting, because you're entertaining, you're trying to, whenever Annie Man and I did Taco Cup, we had 90 plus people in our channel at all times, and because we're the only English speaking channel casting it, and every match is a best of 5 until the finals, or I think the semifinals is when they started the best of 7s, and every game went all 5 games just about. It was nuts, and there's a lot of TVTs and stuff in there. It was a long cast. And also we would have, an hour in between games sometimes, just because, we have people from Korea and playing people from EU. Then we had Americans and like people from Mexico. And so it was crazy. A, the amount of attention that it got, and B, the amount of downtime and everything. And I'm not saying it wasn't well ran. It was very well organized and probably it's definitely the most official thing I've ever casted. But it was like, with having a wife and then my dog going nuts, and I had, technical issues and everything. After, I think it was 3 days, and we were hitting about 12 hours a day casting, and it was nuts. Like that was pretty much a testament to me of like, this is not what I am not meant to do this. It's not that I don't have what it takes. I'm not willing to put in. And that's one of the reasons why I kind of stopped casting and putting on tournaments, because it's like, this is just, I don't have time for this. So like, how the hell do you guys do this? I would like, cause having a job and a wife and a house and now a baby, like I don't know how I could ever do it. Major props to you guys. It's exhausting to even think about staying up from 9 to 3 a.m. in your brother's room, trying to be quiet and not wake him up, but also trying to entertain, however many people are in your Discord or in your Twitch chat at the time, and maintaining those numbers on top of keeping professionalism and not saying anything negative about the organization that's currently giving you an opportunity to cast for it. It's really hard to do. So again, thank you guys so much for coming out. Y'all are absolutely amazing people, really inspiring to me and in this community. Thank you for the help you've given me personally, and also for being on the show and taking the time out of your schedules. I know y'all have to go in pretty soon, so I definitely want to wrap it up, so make sure you guys can enjoy your real life situation that you have going on. What are y'all about to go do? I forgot.
Oh, we've got Overwatch practice, which is being very separate, because we have been on 2 different teams for a very long time. But he recently became captain of his team, and I recently became captain of my team as well. And we had a whole few roster changes, and we came up with the idea to join teams. So now we're on the same team for the first time in like 6 months, and this will be like the first official practice. So I'm pretty excited.
It's awesome.
Team games are awesome. That's also another reason I love. It was a different change of pace with Overwatch, but I never really got to really experience in a team environment with Lord, and that's going to be really cool.
Very excited for that, for sure.
Well, cool. Well, I hope you guys have luck. If there's a stream, please post it for if you guys are like having a scrimmage or anything. I'd love to stop in and be like, I don't know what's going on. I only know what Zenyatta does. Right. And I think Widowmaker too. She has a sniper rifle. It's pretty easy. Yeah. Right. But so again, thank you guys so much for coming out. Love you both. Thank you, Toast, for sitting here and listening to us talk and being so quiet and providing me with this opportunity. But you guys are the best. If you don't know who they are, PhoenixTears+LordofTerrans. You can find them in Proxy Tempest Discord. You can find them just about really. I don't think I'm in a StarCraft Discord that at least Lord of Terrans isn't in. So yeah, guys, check them out. If you ever need an admin for a tournament, they are the ways to go. And if they can't do it, they can introduce you to somebody who can. So that's really all I got for you guys. Thank you so much again. Love you both. And
thanks for having us. We really appreciate it. We were so excited about this. We really were.
Yeah. It's nice to actually have two people who people don't know exactly who you are every single time.
Yeah.
Which is why the show exists, because they absolutely should. But that's it for me, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. All the people in chat, everybody who's watching the VOD, whether it be on YouTube or on Twitch, feel free to leave a comment. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube or to follow on Twitch if you enjoy the content. We will be coming back at you hopefully next week with both Toast for the third time's a charm because of just life getting in the way for both of us with previous interviews setting up, and also for Volticus of the Volticus Star League. So keep an eye out for that. Follow me on Twitter, Duddles1, and also Dank Shrine as well for any updates for the show. Thank you guys again for tuning in. Thank you so much for both Lord of Terrans and PhoenixTears, and for Toast for giving me this opportunity to talk to these guys and give them a little bit more insight on their lives in the StarCraft community. You guys have a good day. Thank you so much. So